So good morning everyone. Today is lecture number 17 E524 Digital MOS LSI circuits and today is October 9. Okay, so we started new topic of combinational logic circuits, which is logical effort. In logical effort, we learned that for a single particular gate, if you want to find out the logical like delay, that's possible with using a Elmore delay. However, if there are stages are there, number of stages, if you want to find out the logical effort or the delay on a critical path, then you need to follow some technique. And that technique says that delay is nothing but F plus P, where D is the total delay of all the stages, F is the stage effort, and P is the parasitic delay. Where F is nothing but G times H, where G is nothing but a logical effort, and H is the electrical effort, which is equal to C out by C in, where C out is output capacitance of the circuit with respect to the input capacitance of the circuit. So if you are having a long chain of, let's say, inverter, if I want to find out delay from point A to point B, so the capacitance at this point is known as C out, and the input side it's known as C in. Now the question was for logical effort. So we learned that everything we are going to normalize to an inverter. For making an inverter, we make sure that both the resistances offered by NMOS and PMOS are same, and for that it's depending on the ratio of mu n by mu p. This ratio varies in different technologies. The book which we are following, that is West and Harris, they are taking the ratio of 2. If you remember, in Semica we found out this one is 1.55, and the book of Rabe, they are following the ratio of 3. So it depends on different technologies. So for this case, we can consider that it's 1:2. So if I want to find out the logical effort, that is going to be equal to the capacitance looking into this gate. It's 2 plus 1, it's 3, and it can drive same inverter whose capacitance is also 3. So the logical effort of an inverter is 3 by 3, that is equal to 1. Note that if it is for different ratio, this ratio will be changed. Means if it is with 1:3, then this will become 4 by 4. And if it is 1.55, that will become 2.55 by 2.55. However, the ratio remains same. But these numbers will be changed in terms of if you are changing the gates. Like if I want to find out the logical effort for an AND gate like this, I know that to make this 1, I need to keep them 2 each, so that this will become 1. I can keep here 1 1. Sorry, I can keep here 2 2 to achieve 2 at the end. So looking at the input of this NAND gate, you need to choose any one of the inputs. So it's going to be equal to 4, and it can drive the inverter whose input capacitance is 3. So it's 4 by 3. And we also learned that for a NAND gate, this is n plus 2 by 3, where n is the number of inputs. That will be G. And for the NOR gate, it's equal to 2n plus 1 divided by 3. That's the logical effort for NOR gate. Most of the time, like, you can use NAND and NOR as universal gate, so we are keeping some equation. However, for the case of like NOR, ZOR, XNOR, we don't have equation, but you have to derive it accordingly with respect to the inverter load. So inverter load is actually 3, and others also you can find out. Okay, so we are not going into that, but we also learn one more thing, that the parasitic delay depends on the number of inputs. As number of inputs are increasing, the parasitic delay is also increasing. You can see that it's equal to n in the case of inverter, in the case of NAND, or in the case of NOR. However, in the case of tri-state and MUX, where there is selection line is also there, because of that it becomes 2 raised to n. Okay, so please keep these things in your mind so that we can use it for solving some of the questions for NAND. For delay. Now let's assume that you have an input NAND gate. As you know that if I want to find out the delay for a simple gate, this is, by the way, rephrasing what you have done previously. So if it is asked to find out the delay of a gate or a CMOS gate, you need to draw the equivalent resistance capacitance model. When you are drawing this, look, I'm drawing only this part. So I'm connecting the logic 0 at the output. So this is going to be equal to TPHL, with the assumption that here VDD is already available, and I'm changing that to low potential. So it's a combination of resistance and capacitance. So if that is already there, you look at this, this is N and this is the resistance. So resistance will be divided by N, because this is actually W times W by L times N. As you know that like all these numbers which has been written over here are normalized to the width and length of the NMOS. So in that case, these resistances are divided by N, because we know that the resistance is going to be decreased as you are increasing the width. So when you are looking at the individual transistor, the resistance offered by the MOS transistor is equal to R by N. And at the output of every node, you are having some capacitance like 3NC over here, and NC, and so on. So if you are going to find out the path resistance going from point A to point B, it's actually R by N plus R by N plus R by N, and this is N times, so equivalent resistance is R. However, if you want to look at the point number A to 1, point number A to 2, so then like it's R by N times NC, or you can say that this loop is going to give you RC, other loop is going to give you like more number. You have to go further and you have to find out. So you can see that you can have such equation, you can find out through some series, and so what it has been found out, it's nothing but an Elmore delay, right? And you can see the last part, which is R by N times 3NC, right? So here the total resistance is actually R by N plus R by N. All R by N will be in series. So total resistance is R times 3N. You see, that's the last part. And for other part, the capacitances are fixed NC, and you can see that IR by N will be there, so that you will have more number of resistance, and accordingly you can write down this equation. So I'm not going into this, but this was just an example how to solve such questions. Now let's take the real time problem. What it says that, by the way, all these examples and everything has been taken from West and Harris, right? So use a linear delay model. What linear delay model says, D is equal to F plus P. You can write down here, where F is nothing but a G times H, and P is also, like we know that parasitic delay is the one which is depending on the number of input. F, like if it is 2 input NAND gate, then N equal to like 2, so parasitic delay is also equal to 2. So it depending on directly on number of inputs. But if it is tri-state buffer or MUX, it's equal to 2 raised 2 times n. So that is not in our example, so let's forget about it for now. And it's only about the inverter. You need to find out that, assume the inverter is constructed in 65 nanometer with the process of t equal to 3 picosecond. You have to find out the delay. So I need to find out delay of this one using a technique. So first of all, we need two things to find out this one. It's G times H. We also know that G is nothing but 3 by 3, which is equal to 1. And H is C out by C in. So C out by C in is also 3 and 3, as you know that. So this is also 1, right? So it's 1 cross 1 plus P is equal to 1. So this is the delay of normal inverter. One inverter is going to give you delay of 2. But now the question is about fan out of 4 inverter. The question is not only for one inverter. What does it mean? It means that if there is an inverter, and at the output of inverter, I'm going to keep 4 more inverters. So in that case, by the way, this whole thing is known as FO4. FO4 is fan out with 4 such inverters, right? So FO stands for fan out of 4 inverters. So FO4 is there. Okay. There are a few more notations, like if you know that NAND 2 means there are 2 inputs NAND. NAND 3 means there are 3 inputs of NAND. And like accordingly, like you can see such kind of things in industry people are following, and so same notations we are going to follow. So if I need to find out the delay of such kind of thing, so this FO4 delay will be as follows. You know that D equal to GH plus P. G of like all of them is actually 1, but when you are looking at H, which is C out by C in, now C out by C in is not equal to 1, but it's going to be equal to 4 times, because there are 4 inverters in parallel. So looking into the input side, it's 4 and the inverter has 1, so 4 by 1, that will be C out by C in, and parasitic delay is 1, so this is equal to 4. Note that this number is actually you can say that normalized to the propagation delay of each inverter, which should be known to you at the beginning, so that you can find out rest of the things. So generally when a designer is start doing the design, he is actually looking at he generally looks at what is the time constant of simple inverter. So in this case, it is already given to you, that's equal to 3 picosecond, right? So here I made one mistake. It has to be 5, because 4 plus 1 make 5. So I know that tau is 3 picosecond already given to me. So each inverter has a time constant or the delay of 3 picosecond. Then this FO4 is going to give me the delay of 15 picosecond. Or you can say that 3 picosecond. Or you can say that 5 times tau, where tau is depending on the technology. So sometimes like tau is going here and there, but you can remember that FO4 is the fan out with the 4 inverters, should have delay of 5 times time constant, and time constant may be varying with respect to the technology. So that is what this problem is, but the problem is solved in such a way that it's given in paragraph, so you might not feel good to follow that, but yeah, now you can see that This is very simple and it's not so much complicated. Now, this is one of the popular question being asked in many places, that if you have odd number of inverters, so there might be two questions. If this is the case, like this, is it going to give you oscillations at the output or not? Means if this is 0, as per the theory, this should go to logic 1, and if this is 1, after some times this has to become 0. If this is 0, this has to become 1, and all these things happening after each propagation delay, which is like for 65 nanometer, it's 3 picosecond. So with 3 picosecond, this should be on and off. But unfortunately, this is not going to happen. Unfortunately, this is not going to happen. Believe me, this is going to stay where it is there. If you want to understand why it's not oscillating, I suggest you should go through my lecture on oscillator, which is given in my YouTube channel. So oscillator, where it follows the Barkhausen criteria, which says that mod GH has to be equal to or greater than 1, and the phase of the loop gain has to be 180 degree or more than 180 degree, right? So if it fulfills both the condition, then it can oscillate. Unfortunately, this has more gain than 1, but the problem is the phase. It has only one pole, so it can only contribute minus 90 degree. It cannot contribute 2 plus 180 degrees. So you need at least 2 inverters to have more poles, and you can have the oscillation. And that's the reason that one inverter cannot give you the oscillation. However, if you are taking, let's say, even number of thing, which is exactly like this, you must have seen like this, then such kind of circuit is known as the latch circuit. It will latch whatever the input is given to the input. Like here, if I give some forcefully, I'm giving some input 0, then this is going to 1, this is 1, and this is 0. So it will latch the input, and an input will never go anywhere. So you can say that it's a good circuit in terms of writing. If you want to write something, you can do this one. Or you can say that if I do as follows, where I can keep one line, let's call this one as bit and this one as bit bar. This one is, let's call this one as write. So whenever I want to write something inside this, I'll just make this switch on, and whatever is available, I'll write it here. And you understand that whatever I'm going to write, it is staying there until I'm not going to change the input. And after writing this, I'll remove this particular switch to off state. Now, like whenever I want to read it, I'm going to make this switch on, and I'm going to read it through the bit bar. So the most important thing is whatever you have written, it will be the bit bar over here. So this kind of circuit is known as this is a memory, by the way, and it's known as the SRAM or the static RAM. This is unit static RAM, which requires 6 transistors. You can see here to implement this one. So to implement this one, I need total 6 transistors. That's why the name of this SRAM cell is 60 SRAM, and such many cells will be there to draw the to make the memory. right? So this is only one cell. This is unit cell. If you want to make 1 MB of SRAM, then you have to make such 1 MB of cells in horizontal as well as vertical. So it's like need to make such grid like this, and each one of them will be read by some column and row decoders, and like rest of the things we are going to study in the last chapter of our course. So let's assume that like this is the important part, because you want to memorize the thing. If you want to memorize the thing, then you are going to use the latch. The name of this circuit is latch. Note that if this is 0, this is 1, this is 1, this is 0, this kind of configuration is making the positive feedback. It's not making the negative feedback, it's making the positive feedback. That's why latch is also known as the positive feedback configuration, right? But if you are not interested in that, but if you are interested in making the oscillations, as we know that one inverter was not good enough to give you the oscillations, but if you have the 3 inverters or such inverters in odd numbers, if I'm keeping and then I'm feeding back, I'm going to see that there will be some oscillations. But that oscillations will depend on how many inverters you have keep between input and output. So that much time delay will be created. What I mean to say is as follows: like if there are 3 inverters are there, we already understood that input and output will have some delay. So each one of these like arrows, you will have some propagation delay. Let's consider this one as TP1, this one is also TP1, and this one is also TP1. So if all the inverters are identical in terms of MOS transistors, from here to here it will take in total 3 TP1 to propagate the signal. What I mean to say, if at the input side the signal look like, let's assume that at point A I just made it 0 to 1 transition and then I leave it. What is happening is this 1 will become 0 over here, but after TP1. So I'm drawing with the different color. So after TP1, at B point, such thing will happen. But at C point, this becomes 1 after TP2, sorry, 2 TP1. If you are going at, this is C. Thereafter, actually, it's same as A. A is fed back over here. So if this is 1, that will go to 0 after 3 TP1. So if you're looking at the diagram, you can see that A is changing after 3 TP1. And again, it will change to 1 after 6 TP1. So you can find out the frequency of this one is 6 TP1, right? 1 by 6 TP1 is going to tell you the frequency of the operation or the frequency of the oscillation. So that is what the question is about. If there is a ring oscillator is a ring oscillator, look like this one, where there are n number of odd stages are there, then you will have the oscillation. Notably, this is not working with the one inverter, right? So what you have to do, as shown in the figure, you have to estimate the n stage ring oscillator delay. So now I already know that each one of the inverter, so if there are so many inverters, I should know that G is equal to 1, which is 1, and H is also equal to 1, because C out by C in is remain same. look at each of the inverter. I'm talking about only one inverter without taking that into feedback. So in that case, G times H plus P, which is your delay, it's going to equal to 2. So one inverter is going to give you the delay of 2, and you know that all these delays are normalized to some factor of tau. Tau should be known to us by the technology process. In our case, it has been given to 3 picoseconds. So you can use for this technology as 3 picoseconds, that gives you 6 picoseconds. So if there are so many are given to you, so if there are 3, then you know that it's 18 picoseconds, which is going to take the like time to travel from point A to B to change the logic. So you can find out the frequency of operation. But if there are n number of stages are there, you know that when it's happening, it's actually time constant is not only for going from 1 to 0, but it's going from 0 to 1. So the period becomes twice of the what you have found out. So twice of 2n. So n is the odd number. So it has to travel 2 times. The frequency of operation will be 1 by 4n. So the frequency of operation is equal to 4n, where n is the number of stages. Instead of 2, it has been changed to 4. This is the reason, because it's not only from 0 to 1. If you complete this loop one time, actually you are changing the state from 0 to 1 only. But to get it 1 to 0 one more time, you have to run the loop one more time. So this loop will run twice to get 0 to 1 and 1 to 0. So the total propagation time will not be 2 times tau, but it will become 4 times tau. So 4 times tau, and such inverters connected in a negative feedback are n number of stages are there. So it's equal to 1 by 4n. Note that this particular numbers are normalized to the time constant. I am not writing, but there is hidden tau is written over here. So please read that if it is not written. However, all the people who are in this field, they are not writing tau, but they are writing just 1 by 4n, and that is the frequency of operation or the frequency of oscillations. This is very popular question. Most of the people are asking the interview also, that for if you have to assume what is the time constant, and accordingly you can give the answer, or sometimes the time constant will be given to you, or the propagation delay from one point to another point will be given to you. You have to tell what will be the oscillations frequency. So in that case, you can give the answer easily, right? So here some examples are given, and you can go through it. So when you are going to read this, you will understand what exactly this meant for. Okay. Now let's go to some extra things that we already learned, that small d is equal to f plus p, where d is delay, f is stage effort, and p is the parasitic delay. Parasitic delay is nothing but is equal to n, where n is the number of inputs, where f equal to g times h, where g is nothing but a logical effort, h is the electrical effort, and h is equal to c out by c in. All the logical efforts are with respect to measured with respect to inverters logical effort. So there is new thing, which is drive. Means what is the driving capability of a particular gate. So that is going to be measured with respect to x. So x is the drive, and rather than the input capacitance, we are going to be interested in drive x such a way that the x equal to c in by g. So this is another equation, x equal to c in by g, or you can say that g is equal to c in by x. Notably, the equation of delay does not change. The equation of delay is the popular one which we have used, but okay, this is g times h, where g is now c in by x, and we know that h is nothing but c out by c in. So this is going to be equal to c out by x plus p. So this is the modified equation in terms of drive X. So this is drive. So how much drive is possible from the particular gate is going to be decided by this equation now. Okay, one more thing which is very important over here. Unfortunately, like now, I believe that most of the people who has doubt in understanding this symbol, this is the input is like you are giving, for some times it's zero and thereafter it becomes one. If it is like this, it's an impulse input, and if it is like this, it's a square wave input. So right now we are giving just logic 1 with the delay of some value. So what exactly this diagram wants to say that if you are giving the input from 0 to 1, in that case the output which is shown in the blue color, it's actually going from 1 to 0. But unfortunately, this is depending on the fact that this whole thing is depending on the slope of the input. So when you are saying that this is an inverter and whose delay is something like, delay is 3 picoseconds, but this is only true when you are giving the slope with change of 1% or some value like 1 or 2% or something like that. But if you change this slope more, or like this, or like this, all will have a different propagation delay. Means the output in this case might be like this, but in other case you can see here that much before the second slope reaching to 1, this has started discharging. This is happening because my inverter has changed the state and it has enough time. This is very slow varying signal, and if you are increasing more, you can see that all of these will have a different propagation delay. Or you can say that because of this slope, you might have worst propagation delay, as we can see over here. So if there is a sharp transition, means better slope, then the propagation delay or the rise time is only 10 picosecond. As you are increasing this is going 30 pico, or you can reach 50 picosecond. This is happening because of the fact that it's actually changing the slope, and slope is giving enough time to change the state in NMOS and PMOS, and accordingly this is start giving the decaying signal. So this is also one fact we should keep in our mind for giving the uh, a proper propagation delay. You need to give some appropriate value rather than giving some value, like sometimes you are giving this slope and sometimes you are changing slope to other value. It's not a good thing. You have to follow only one way to uh, find out the answer. So this is what we need to understand. Sometimes you all will have a different answer, so do not afraid of that. Just uh, look at the slope which you are given at the input side. Now let's look at the plot. So as we are increasing the rise time, the propagation delay actually increases, and it's a linearly it's increasing. You can see that we are not going to do into the equation of that, but the thing is it's going to increase for a same inverter. Inverter does not change. I'm not changing the W by L. I'm not changing anything. I'm just changing the input slope. So if it is like this, the different slope will give the different propagation delay. Now let's look at the interesting thing that you have a multi-stage network, which is like this. I'll draw this one more time so that 10 x, y, and z, and this is 20. Note that whatever you are seeing inside this particular gate, that's the drive which can be driven by the particular gate. Now you need to find out two things. One is G and one is H, or for each of the gate. So for first one, I know that G is nothing but inverter's logical effort, which is 3 by 3. I can write it down as 1, right? Because 3 by 3 is 1. Now I need to write down H. Let's call this one G1 and H1 because that's related to the first gate. So H1 is nothing but C out by C in. Looking at output of this one, I'm going to see the NOR gate whose input capacitance is X, which is acting as output capacitance of this NOT gate. So I'm going to keep X as the C out, and C in is already known to me, that's equal to 10, right? So like this. According to this, we can look at the second part, which is NOR gate whose logical effort is equal to, as this is NOR gate, we remember that it's equal to 2n plus 1 by 3. That's the logical effort. There are two inputs, so this is going to be equal to 5 by 3. Right? I'm not going into back to find out how it's 5 by 3, but you can follow this equation and you can find out 2n plus 1 by 3. Now I'm interested in logical effort. So output of this one is seeing this NAND gate whose capacitance is Y, and looking at this one, it's X. So this is the logical effort of this one. Now similarly, you can write down G and H for third gate, which is NAND gate. So G is for NAND gate, it's actually equal to n plus 2 by 3. Two inputs are there, so it's 4 by 3. And H is equal to Z by Y. Whereas for this one, this is a NOT gate, G is equal to 1 and H4 is equal to 20 by Z. So all these numbers are coming from here. So multi-stage network. So this G is the logical effort and H is the electrical effort. We found out from the input and output capacitances, and we found out these from the equations. If you stuck somewhere and if you forget the equation, you can draw always a NAND gate and NOR gate, and you can find out these numbers very easily, right? So now few more things, like if you have so many logical effort based gates are there and electrical efforts are there, all these logical efforts has to be multiplied. So this symbol is for multiplication, you must be knowing this, and sigma is for addition, right? So in this case, all these will be multiplied. So if I want to find out the bigger G over here, that's going to be equal to 1 multiplied by 5 by 3 multiplied by 4 by 3 multiplied by 1. So it's equal to 20 by 9. So effective logical effort from point number A to point number B is equal to 20 by 9. So that is what this equation says. And C out path divided by C in path is going to give me the bigger electrical effort. So rather than doing all these things, I can directly write down bigger H is nothing but C out is equal to 20 on this entire path, and C in path is actually available here. So here it's around 10. So I know that electrical effort is equal to 2. So from here, like you can find out the delay, still the delay equation for the entire stage, which I am keeping it capital D. Capital D is actually the whole path equation. So this is going to be equal to G times H plus P. P is still known to us, parasitic delay. So all the parasitic delays has to be come into the picture. So that is what we are going to do. Now let's understand few more things, like before jumping into some conclusion that that D is equal to GH plus P, where G is all the multiplication and this is C out path by C in path. So this is for path. So this equation might be different. So we need to see that. So now the path effort, earlier it was stage effort with the small f, but now on a complete path you may have many stages and all of them combining with the multiplication of all. I'm going to call it path effort is the product of stage efforts of each stage. So each stage has to be multiplied by G and H. So if it is multiplication of all these, so in that case you can have such kind of things. But unfortunately, like this is the golden thing, that F is not equal to G times H. The reason is, if such circuit is given to you, notably this is FO2, this is known as the FO2 because fan out of 2, right? So in that all have capacitance of 90-90 both sides, and this is 5-15-15. I need to find out the path delay from here to here. So whatever I have marked, that's the path whose delay I want to know. Okay, so in that case, if I am looking at this path, let's write down G and H. So G is equal to 1, 5, that's 3. Or this one, G is equal to 1, H is equal to 15 by 5, sorry, 19 by 15, it's equal to 6. Similarly, this one is G equal to 1 and H equal to 90 by 15, that's equal to 6. So as per the theory, like all GH will be multiplied. So this has to be like 3 plus, sorry, multiplied by 6, and again, like this is not coming on path, so this becomes something like 18. But in reality, that's not the correct answer. The correct answer does not look at the capacitance which is in this path. We have not taken into account at all, right? So in that case, okay, one mistake is from my side. I made mistake here because looking into this, it's equal to 30. 30 divided by 5. So that's going to give me 6. So the answer, as per this theory, it has to be 36 plus parasitic delay of this one. So 2 will be there. So 38 will be there with our technique. But that is not the correct one. What exactly this Sutherland approach says that if you have such kind of branching, you have to have one more extra term which is known as B. What B is saying, B says that B is nothing but C out, sorry, C on path plus C off path divided by C on path, and H is going to be given by C out of path divided by C in of path. Already G is known to us. G is multiplication of all other things which is on path. So F is not equal to GBH for this branching thing, but F is equal to GBH, where B is nothing but C off path plus C on path divided by C on path. So if there are more branchings are there, then multiplication of all such BIs will be giving you the total B. So in this case, only one branch is there. So that's why it's not a problem. What I mean for one branch means you might have such kind of problem like this, and you are interested from point number A to point C. Then there are two branchings are there. So both the branchings has to be taken into account. So here, using this, if I want to find out what will be the exact answer, the answer will be, if I want to find out the F equal to GBH. G is known to me. G is nothing but, this is 1. This is also 1. H equal to 30 by 5, 6. H equal to 90 by 15, 6. But I know that G is nothing but multiplication of 1, 1, right? For this stage and this stage. So G is equal to 1, no problem. B is equal to C for this particular node where the branching is happening. In this particular case, C off path. So this is on C off path, which is 15. On path, another 15 is there, and divide by 15, it's going to give me 2. And H is nothing but C out, which is 90, divided by C in, which is 5, right? So 18. So this is going to give me F equal to G times B times H as 36. So this is correct answer. So, and that is what we need to account for as GBH rather than just G times H. So new value of delay is depending on GBH plus P, and where all the P has to be multiplied, means in this case, if I need to look at the parasitic delay which is going to be added, it's going to be equal to, for this case it's 1 and this case it's 1. So 1 will be there and the answer will be 37. Note that whenever I'm writing anything in terms of some number, there is some hidden tau is there. Tau is the technology value which needs to be taken into account. So if you don't write it down, it's independent of the technology, and you can always change the technology and you can have the correct answers. That's why we are not adding that. Okay, so these are the new equations. So now, as per the new equation, D is nothing but GBH plus P, where all these becomes capital, just to make sure that each one of them is like the multiplication of the stage wise. Okay, this is already we know, C out path divided by C in path, and P is nothing but multiplication of all such small pi. Okay, other than that, there is one more thing. So that number says that sometimes you have the more number of stages, so number of stages has to be taken into account, which says that F equal to GI HI is equal to F raised to 1 by n, where n is the number of stages. When you are going to keep that, this whole D is now changed to n times F raised to 1 by n plus P, where F remains same thing. F is not changed because it's GBH times 1 by n plus P. So this is the final equation which is going to be used everywhere, and that is what we need to take into account. So the method of logical effort is applied with the following steps. You first needs to find out the path effort with F equal to GBH. You need to find out the base number of stages where this equation is going to be used, where the path using n cap stages, and the delay is going to be like this. So this is already given to us. If you want to find out the capacitance driven by each of the stage, can be found out by the back calculation of this one. But this is the last thing. When we are going to solve maybe a few more questions, you will understand what is going on over here. But these are the stage and path expression. If there is only one stage, logical effort G, already we know what is that. So in the case of NAND gate, it's going to be equal to n plus 2 by 3 in the case of NAND. In the case of NOR, it's 2n plus 1 by 3. And this multiplication of all such logical efforts is going to give me the path expression. H is nothing but C out by C in as electrical effort. For the case of path, I'm going to look at the total capacitance at the end of the path and the total capacitance at the input of the path. I don't care what is happening in between. So those things will not be taken into account for the path, for the quick calculation. But if you are saying branching might be there most of the time. So that is nothing but C on path plus C of path divided by C on path, and such branches will be multiplied, and that is going to give me the capital B. Here the effort, which is the stage effort with this name stage, this is the stage effort with the small letter of F, it's GH. With the path, it's a path effort. With the capital F, I'm going to call it G times B times H because it's going to add the branch also, right? And effort delay is F, where DF is equal to summation of all such FIs. And like parasitic delay is also like addition of all such PIs, and at the end delay is F plus P, whereas here DF plus P. Notably, we have not added one fact that it's actually equal to this one. DF is nothing but the D is actually equal to N times F raised to 1 by N plus P. Okay, so maybe this particular example we'll solve tomorrow, because right now it might take more time to understand. Okay, so that's all for today, because all these things are like composed of so many equations, but the main equation is this one. For the path, D is equal to F plus P, where F is nothing but G times H plus P. This is for single stage. This is stage equation. But for longer path, this D will change to capital D, and this becomes actually capital G and H along with the branches, because in a single stage you will never have